VIBErations Podcast, Episode 60, Jeremy Williams. Recorded on Thursday, the 2nd of April 2026. Hi, I'm Gary Brightman, and this is my periodic podcast called VIBErations. Established in 2018, Vibe is a book and music shop situated in Mui Wo on Lantau Island in Hong Kong. So this is my 60th interview in 7 years, and in that time I've interviewed many talented people, all with a connection to Lantau Island here in Hong Kong. From colonial policemen and marine police to business owners and entrepreneurs, from music producers and film directors to authors, musicians and creatives. Lantau is bubbling over with talent. And of course, we showcase as many of the authors and musicians as we can live at Vibe on Saturdays. Over the last month, we've had Carl Wagner's triumphant return to Vibe for his solo gig, and Pogue's tribute band, McGowan's Teeth, last Saturday, who seriously rocked the house, one of my favourite gigs of the last 8 years. And in the past 6 weeks, I've interviewed airline pilot Pierre Cadaret, actor, retailer, creative and entrepreneur Dominic Johnson-Hill, and former professional jockey, endurance athlete and entrepreneur Joe Lodder, all for the VIBErations podcasts. You can see all of these presentations on our YouTube channel at Live at Vibe HK. Well worth subscribing to if you ask me. And so, we turn to this week's podcast interview. Jeremy Williams was born in Shropshire in the UK. His father was a farmer and his mother a keen music lover and pianist. Her father was a professional viola player, so from an early age Jeremy loved music and began learning the violin at the age of 5. From the age of 11 his path was set as he attended Wells Cathedral School, a specialist musical institution, and went on to further his studies at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London. At just 22, he was amazed to pass an audition for the London Symphony Orchestra, making his career in music already established. He has been fortunate to have a varied musical career in both classical and popular music. Aside from many tours around the world with classical orchestras and chamber groups, he has worked on pop music sessions in London for George Martin with Paul McCartney, Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, and concerts with George Benson and Tony Bennet, to mention only a few. He also played on soundtracks for movies including James Bond, Batman and the long-running TV series Inspector Morse. He met his wife, Yun Yum, also a professional violinist from Hong Kong, in London, and so has had a lasting connection with Hong Kong for many years. They lived in Hong Kong from 1998 to 2003, when he was principal viola with the Hong Kong Phil, before moving to Australia again for music. In 2015 they returned to Hong Kong for a brief visit for family reasons, and 11 years later are still here. Yun Yum and Jeremy have 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren spread out between the UK and Australia. They're in the middle of the sandwich here in Hong Kong. They moved from Kowloon to Pui O in 2022, but have had a long and lasting affection for Lantau dating back to 1998. Okay, so welcome to Vibe, Jezza.
Thanks, Gazza. Lovely to be here, as ever.
Thank you. Okay, as we do, we're going to go through 10 warm-up questions. Do you have a favourite book or author?
Yes, I do actually, although I haven't read this book for many years. I'm a huge fan of history, so these days I read a lot more books that are basically history books rather than novels. But I guess because of history and that, years and years ago, War and Peace by Tolstoy.
Right.
I got so much out of that.
Yes.
That I actually, a few years later, read it again.
Okay.
But nowadays I'll read sort of history books by, William Shearer, for instance, who wrote that fantastic stuff about his experiences in Germany in the 30s. Andrew Roberts, Simon Sharma, those sort of guys.
Yes.
Of course, here.
Yes.
Wonderful local history books. I've got many a book from you here.
Yeah.
Which thoroughly enjoyed.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, well, thank you. And I've got exactly the same taste as you, actually. What about biographies and autobiographies? Do you enjoy
Yes,
those?
I do actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
I've read quite a lot of cricket ones actually because I'm mad about cricket as well as history.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but again, history, the historical figures.
Yes.
Politicians is quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Musical artists.
Wow, that's a
Yeah, I know.
big question for me as a musician. It tends to be what I'm feeling like at that moment.
Yeah.
And I have a split personality because I'm obviously classically trained musician.
Yes.
But when I got to school, I got into sort of Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and all this
Yeah.
stuff that I didn't know. So a whole new world
Yes.
opened up, and I still think Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, is actually one of the greatest concept albums ever made.
A masterpiece.
And it just stands today
It still does, doesn't
completely on its own.
Yeah.
So those sort of things. I'm a great fan of
Yes.
Queen. I'll keep going back to that.
Oh, yeah.
And then classically, there's a string quartet, an American quartet called the Guarneri Quartet. Two violins, viola, cello. They were formed in the 1960s. They're absolutely amazing. They're not running anymore because they're all very old. Well, two of them have gone.
Okay.
But when I was a teenager, I used to go to their concerts in London, and then as a student, and then as an adult, and I still put on their recordings. So
Yes.
on that side of the fence,
Yes.
I would say they're a group.
That
but of
stands
course,
out.
there's so many others.
And actually, we're the same age. We're both 1960s
That's
kids.
right, 60s.
So I think we'll have the same references,
Yes,
won't we?
yes, that's right. Yes,
certainly
that's
on
right.
pop, rock, and indie.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when I got to the Alex Harvey band and all that stuff,
yeah.
there was a whole new
Yeah.
world there as well.
Yeah. And what about favourite films? There'd be a number of those, I'd imagine.
A number of those, so I won't sort of go into them. I'll just say I keep going back to Young Frankenstein and the Producers. They just absolutely,
yes.
and I find life is so like them as well.
Yeah.
That if you just asked me the question just off the cuff,
Yes.
I would say those two.
They would come straight
those
to your
two
mind.
films,
Yeah. Mel Brooks, of
Yes,
course.
Mel
and-
Brooks, Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. I mean, just classics, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you have a preferred drink?
I do actually. I mean, I like a glass of wine and all the rest of it. A nice beer,
Yeah.
particularly a good real ale on the occasions I go back to the UK. I have to say it's coffee though,
Yeah, okay.
because I cannot function
Yes.
without a coffee in the
Right,
morning.
okay,
So if you took that away from me,
that's
the
it.
other drinks would pale into insignificance.
So if we were on Desert Island Discs,
I'd have to have a coffee
You'd have to have a
machine.
coffee machine.
Plugged into the something or other there.
probably a bike that you were peddling.
Yes.
Do you have a life motto?
I do really, and I guess it's come through sort of experience of getting a bit older and the sort of work I've done. It's basically let go and move on. Time and time again, one can get stuck in some issue, and when it passes, you think, what earth was all that about?
Yeah.
So it's trying to find that moment where, I might not be getting out of this 100%, but I'm going to get out much better if I just move on.
Yeah. Hong Kong walks.
I would say, because I've sort of, the two lengthy periods I've lived in Hong Kong, there's two, I guess, that I really enjoy. Here, it's the walk from Puyo, where I live, to here.
Yes.
I keep doing that one because of the beauty of the coast and all the rest of it. I do love the Tung Chung to Tai O.
Yeah.
But then, when I was here sort of earlier on, when I was with the Hong Kong Phil, I lived on Hong Kong Island, and I used to love that one going up Mount Parker Road, up those steps, Mount Butler, look over Tai Tam Reservoir, and then work your way down towards Stanley.
Okay, Hong Kong restaurant.
Well, I have to say, home is the best one to start.
Yes.
Yun Yum's cooking.
But Yum's yummy cooking.
Yum's yummy cooking. So we eat a lot at home these days because of all the good produce you can get. We've got the Puyo, the little sort of market, the farm thing there. We get a lot of veg from there. And then there's a very good.
We've got a great farm shop
there
here as well, haven't we? Yeah.
But there is a restaurant, and sadly it closed recently, called Phuk Ju Loi.
Okay.
And it's the one that used to be just on the hill, just near your shop.
Okay.
That looks over the
Oh, Fuxoy Loy, the one
Yeah.
that's on the hill. There's
Yes,
two next to
there's
each
two.
other.
One completely
on the
went,
left.
and
Yes.
then the furthest
Sadly.
one, also gone now. They've just closed it.
Have they really?
They have. Sadly, they closed only a few weeks ago.
What was the best advice you were ever given?
Well, very easy, that one. No excuses.
Okay, right.
When I was younger, and I think young experiences as well, used to sort of turn up sometimes a little bit late for sessions and things, and time is money.
Yeah.
In a recording studio.
Absolutely.
And rehearsals for concerts.
Yeah.
And I remember one or two times I started making all sorts of excuses, and the fixer guys that were sort of quite senior people said, Jeremy, no excuses. I must say, I'm always incredibly early for things.
Yeah.
And have been for years. I mean, in London, of course, you know what it's like trying to rely on the transport.
Yeah.
And it's such a huge place.
God, yeah.
And we lived in the Greenwich area. If you're going to a session in Wembley, I used to build in an extra hour because I was terrified of being late.
All bets are off. Will you make it?
Yes.
Yes. Finish this sentence. I live in Hong Kong because...
I think the energy of Hong Kong, the fact that, certainly when I first came here, I could see that you could do things here that get sort of create your own opportunities that maybe not so easy to do in other places. And I just sort of like the fact that in my mind when I first came, I thought it was buildings, and then I found I got these beautiful islands and all the new territories, and it's not just what...
It's got hidden depths.
A few sort of skyscrapers, and I just like that sort of constant buzz. It's always moving.
Yeah,
that's right. And of course, having Yum as a Chinese wife, when we first came in the 80s, her parents were here, brothers, so there was a sort of family reason to come. Yeah,
and that's what I thought maybe your answer. You came because of Yum, but then because I knew you knew Yum quite early.
I mean, it was that I wouldn't have probably come quite so soon.
Yes.
Although having said that, in the late 80s and throughout the 90s, till I came in 98 to join the Hong Kong Phil, I did come with quite a few music groups here.
Okay.
So I might have come anyway, as I went to Japan and other places. By then, I'd been with her, and we sort of did our sort of wedding celebration here and in the UK. So I already felt that bond with it by the first trip. I think I came with the Academy of St. Martin's in 87.
Okay.
And then Nash Ensemble in 88, and then another group in 90. So there were 4 or 5 quite decent trips to the arts festival and various things. Yeah. And then, of course, came to live here in 98.
What a great thing to be doing in your sort of early 20s, travelling the world, playing the violins. I can't think of anything better, actually.
Yes, it was good. Saw a lot of places.
Okay, and then the final question: do you have a favourite area of Hong Kong?
Well, I have to say South Lantau. Otherwise, I guess I would have never moved here. Having come back for the second time to live, many times in between, but the actual living in 2015 again, family reasons brought us back. And we intended to come for a short period and end up, it's now 11 years and 2 months, that short period.
Wow.
So we lived in Kowloon for 8 years because of work.
Yes, okay. Whereabouts in Kowloon?
Near Yau Ma Tei, just off the Waterloo Road. Sort of.
I know that area well.
And in fact, I first came to Lantau in 98 I'd just come here from that to live. Yes. And do you remember Tom Hope and Su Ming? Do you remember them? Well, they had a really big house in Puyo. Yeah. And we came to a party. And I guess that was it. I was hooked on this place. Yeah. So always, even if I came back for a week or something, I'd still come over here. Yeah. Okay. All right. So now that's the questions over with, and we're going to drill back a little bit to your earlier life. So you were born in Shropshire. Your dad was a farmer, but your mum. It sounds like you took a lot of your musical influence from your mum. Yes, definitely from my mum. I mean, she was an avid sort of listener to music and had an incredible knowledge because her father had been a professional musician. Yeah. And so through the two of them actually,
Yes.
I sort of lent that way.
Yeah.
And from a very early age loved the music.
Yeah.
And my grandfather sort of encouraged me to learn the violin when I was very young.
Yeah, so he was a violin player.
He was a violin viola player, like me now.
Yeah.
In fact, I have his beautiful Italian viola, which I play on now.
Oh, how nice.
Which is nice to have, because I've got still a bit of him with me.
And how old is that?
That was made in 1852.
1852.
But I have a violin made by a Dutch maker, which was made in 1765.
Right.
Mozart was 9 when that violin was made.
9?
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, just for the layman, that's the thing with violins, isn't it? They mature with age, and the best violins are hundreds of years old.
They do. It's not like a car. You want to trade it in for the newest model. That's not to say there aren't some amazing sort of
new
modern makers. In fact, I've got a couple of very nice modern violins. One English one Italian one. So there's some great makers around.
Yes.
But, there's something about the sort of the sound it develops with age and the wood.
Yeah. So which one do you prefer of the violins that you play?
Well, I probably prefer, because I've had it for so long, the old one.
Yeah.
But having said that, when I'm going around teaching and stuff, I seldom take that with me. I take one of the more modern ones.
Okay, so you're in Shropshire, growing up. Do you have siblings?
I have a sister. She's 3 years younger than me.
And she's still UK based?
Yes, she's just moved from Essex. Essex girl. She's moved from Essex to near Brighton, which is
nice.
a very nice place to be.
Yes.
I haven't been yet, but I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. My sister lives down in Lewes.
Oh, right. Oh, Lewes.
So
I love Lewes.
Yeah.
Used to do the Glyndebourne. So I used to do some seasons there. So been to Lewes a lot. Great place.
Oh, it's a lovely place.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love going back there to see her.
Yeah.
Okay, so growing up in Shropshire, then I guess your kind of big break came as an 11-year-old.
As an 11-year-old.
Isn't that weird to say that? But it's kind of true, isn't it, for you? You went Wells Cathedral.
That's right. Yeah. It was partly, I mean, my dad moved from Shropshire when I was 4.
Yeah.
And we ended up living in Dorset, where he worked on a farm. And I sort of had quite a good local teacher, but it was a bit sort of remote there, and so my parents were looking for somewhere, so I did the audition for Wells and got in when I was 11. So I guess that set me on the path. Once you go somewhere like that, unless you have a dramatic change, you're probably fairly set. A lot of my friends and colleagues that went there, they're also musicians. There's also an ordinary school there as well, so which was great because it made it balanced. We weren't just all sort of, I mean, that's where I found all the rock stuff and that, because all of that lot were listening to that. So they were great, and it was sometimes a relief being with them. I played cricket, until it biffed my hand so much they said you better stop that.
Oh God, really? All right, so you're sort of in on Wells Cathedral School. You're there till you're 18.
Till I'm 18.
Then you graduate. You go then on to a university.
Yeah, I went to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London, which was a very good place to go again to pursue a musical performing career.
Yeah.
So there was academic work, but the emphasis was on performing, practicing, doing orchestra and all the things you do.
From there on, you graduate, and then what happens?
Well, I did the sort of equivalent of the bachelor's graduation, and I was doing the equivalent of the master's thing. And then in the middle of that, this advert came up for a violin position in the London Symphony Orchestra, and I thought, well, I must have been mad going for that. But I thought it'd give me something to practice for, and just sort of. It was a very sort of high profile position, and but within it.
Yes.
And I didn't really have the experience for that, and I did this audition, and it went very, very well. And although they didn't give me that position because I really didn't have the experience, they were about to advertise for another position that wasn't quite so sort of at the front. They offered it to me, just off that. So I sort of gave up studies at the Guildhall. I went in, I said, should I finish the course? They said, no, you've got a job, go.
Wow.
So I went there.
Yes. And where were the LSO based
Well,
in
they
London?
actually, funnily enough, they were based right next to the Guildhall in the Barbican Centre.
Oh, brilliant.
The Guildhall was in Moorgate.
Yes, I know that area
and the
well.
LSO's right next to it in
Yes.
the Barbican Centre. I mean, that was just coincidence.
Yeah.
But, so I went there, and of course had a huge learning experience from that straight away, playing with amazing conductors and John Williams as well, all the film music and stuff,
Yeah.
So a whole range of stuff. Started doing
Yes.
some sort of film scores and things with them. So
Yeah.
so it was a good experience.
So is that when you did the film scores for Batman and James Bond?
That was later on.
Okay.
Because I left LSO after a year or so because I was invited to join a string quartet, which was something I'd always wanted to do, called the Delmay Quartet. Very established group.
Yes.
And so I joined that, and if you're doing that sort of thing, you don't get paid to rehearse.
No.
So you might get what looks like a good fee in your hand.
Yeah.
And then
but
the
that's gotta
hotel's
last.
gone, the travel's gone, this.
Yeah.
So what the other three did, who were a lot older than me, they used to do a lot of what we call commercial session,
Yeah.
which was run by all these different what we call fixers that hire people to play on these
Yes.
things. And because I was working with them, again, you see, the luck thing.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't have got into that at age 23.
No.
Otherwise, they started inviting me to go along with them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we did it as a quartet. And that's when I started doing the Bond and the movies and the pop. And then I got into that and was doing that then until I came to Hong Kong for the first time in 98.
Okay, all right. So that's quite a decent period of time.
Yeah,
because
83 to 98.
83 to 98,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that location must have helped you massively. You're based in London.
Yes.
You've got an LSO background. This quartet, they obviously pulled you around with them and then got those jobs through fixers.
Well, it sort of got me in a position where I would sort of go and play with some of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one that blew me away was a concert with George Benson at the exhibition centre in Birmingham. Brought home to me, all us classical musicians, what incredible musicians they were.
Yes.
It was so slick. I remember this big dude on the bass guitar doing all the stuff. It was, amazing.
So how do you get to play on there? They come on a tour. George Benson comes from the US.
Yes.
Comes over on the tour with his big entourage, and then they ask for UK kind of...
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's what you already seem to have sussed it. The fixer...
Yeah, the fixer...
would be somebody that worked for whoever was hiring him.
Yeah.
And Benson says, I've got this concert.
Yeah.
He doesn't. The manager says.
The manager sets all that up.
And there are 20 numbers and there are 10 with strings. And so that's how that sort of thing happened.
Yeah.
I mean, for a slightly different style, I did an incredible one at the Barbican with Tony Bennet. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. And then I guess those guys they're making recordings, so then you're on the recordings.
Yes,
going forward.
Yeah.
So
some of them are just concerts.
Some are concerts.
There might be,
one-offs,
some of them
two-offs.
might be videos. Some.
Yeah.
And then if they're recordings, you tend to go to the recording studio and do it. Doing all the sort of retakes and so.
But what great experience to be in a studio with a great musician or a great voice like Tony Bennet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I must say it was fantastic because we were able to earn a living doing that stuff, which was paying to subsidise.
Yeah.
Because sometimes sometimes with a quartet you'd be on those sessions from say 10 till 5 with all the travelling to it.
Yeah.
And then you'd go to somewhere and rehearse for 4 hours.
Wow.
For a concert in Germany or whatever, or
Yeah,
BBC broadcast. It sometimes very, very long days.
Full on, yeah. So in 1998 you come to Hong Kong. What happens over here?
Well, there was I guess family again was one of the reasons that I thought of this Hong Kong film idea, because there was a couple of vacancies going. I'd been playing the violin mainly, but I'd done a lot of viola playing as well, because it's a passion of mine. And this vacancy for principal viola came up, and one or two people, that I knew from here and Hong Kong suggested that I might go for that. I was able to do the audition in London because they were going round. And one of the main reasons to come was it got 2 daughters, Rebecca and Emma.
Yes.
And they've got their grandma here and uncle.
Yes.
And sadly, grandpa had gone.
Yeah.
Gung Gung, as they call him.
Gung Gung.
And we thought it was really important that as half Asian, they should experience something of life here as well as the West. So we came for a multi reasons.
I mean, how old were the girls then? They were pretty
young.
young.
They were quite young, actually. I mean, Emma was probably about 6, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, she's never lived in the UK since then.
Really? She's always been this side of the world.
That's right. Rebecca was about 10. She actually went and studied in Australia. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit. And she now lives in the UK. Emma's in Australia. So that was really why we came.
Yeah, I think that was a good thing to do.
Family, really.
Mum who's a Hong Konger, seeing Asian life.
Yeah. So I guess the actual Hong Kong Phil thing was not necessarily that my great desire, but
it was
I was getting to a stage in life where I'd got kids, I had more responsibilities.
Yes.
I didn't want to flit around quite so much anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a very sort of easy sort of schedules.
Yes.
And I started doing a bit of teaching here. Yum had a lot of students.
Yeah.
Used to teach for the ESF.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And so it was a good choice to come.
Just going back, have I missed the discussion about? From your bio, the thing that impressed me a lot was seeing the names of George Martin and Paul McCartney on there.
Yes.
How did that come about, and when did that come about?
Well, that came about actually through working with the quartet.
Right.
Because, again, the other 3 people had worked for George Martin.
Right.
For quite some time.
Okay.
Quite regularly.
Had they?
There was there was a lovely fixer. His name was George Hamer. He used to book films, and I did Lovejoy for him.
Oh, did you?
The TV series.
I love it.
And he used to fix for George Martin.
Right.
So whenever there was something, us plus other musicians as well, it was a decent sized bunch, used to get invited to go and play. And it was nearly always at Abbey Road Studios.
Abbey Road Studios.
And of course McCartney was featured. The first thing I did was that flop movie, Give My Regards to
Broad Street.
Broad Street, yeah. So we played on that, and then later on Flaming Pie, an album of McCartney, and other things as well. And I think I did something with Sting that George Martin did, and all sorts of. Ringo came and did something that was a bit strange. So over that whole period, you know, you might not do anything for 8 months or so, and then something would come up. There'd be a couple of sessions, and McCartney just used to come in the room. And I remember Rebecca's my biggest failure. She said, "Why did you never get his autograph?" Because she wanted it. I said, you know something, when you work with these guys, you don't think of that.
No, it's not a...
They walk round the back and they say, hello, nice to see you, and they shake your hand, and he's always a very affable guy. And you play, and he plays, and he sings, and
what about, so, you know, we met, you and I, probably about 8 years ago.
Yes.
And you came into the shop one day, and you picked up a Led Zepp CD, and you said, I'm on that. And I thought, is he delirious? Has he he plays violin in the Hong Kong Phil. How can he be on the Led Zeppelin thing? Tell me the name of the CD and how that came about.
Well, the one I was holding up in here, it's called Page and Plant.
That's it.
Led Zepp hadn't quite done their reunion concerts then.
Yes.
Even though Bonham's son was playing the drums on this thing.
Right.
And what it was, you know, the 70s had been the heavy rock stuff, hadn't it?
Yeah.
And the 90s was a sort of smooth era.
Yes.
And they wanted to do together, the two of them. They wanted something a little bit sort of more 90s, but they wanted to revisit things like Rain Song and Kashmir and things like that. So what they did is they did it with a string orchestra. And if you listen to it and then listen to the original, it's a little bit different.
Right.
And actually in Kashmir he hired a Moroccan band as well, so they were all playing these ethnic sort of styles and on these funny instruments and things. And you know, we did a thing for MTV
Right.
And when we were rehearsing, it was all quite quiet, and they listened very hard, and it was very sort of playing together and all that.
Yeah.
But my goodness, when we got to the show in this sort of huge studio, and they revved up, I mean, we had to put earplugs in the lot.
Really?
It was.
Full on.
It was the big,
Every-
yeah. And we were all mic'd up as well.
Wow. You've got to be some
So
sound engineer.
We were all doing that as well, of course, in this
Oh.
in this revamped version.
And where was that? Where was that studio? Can you remember?
Well, I did a couple of things with that. We played on the Jules Holland show,
Okay.
and then MTV Studio. I can't remember where it was now. There is some footage actually on YouTube of
Is there?
of that show, and
I'd love to see
there
that.
was an audience.
Yeah.
I think invited audience for that.
Yes.
Because it was
Yeah.
really for the video. I'll tell you a funny story though. We were at the BBC doing the Jules Holland, and
Yeah.
they're notorious for sort of not being very hospitable with the.
Oh, is that
you
right?
go in, there's a
mean.
canteen, and
No green room there.
The BBC check, the small check.
Okay.
And so we sort of finished rehearsing. We got like a lot of these things, a lot of time between the rehearsing, and we went to this room, and there was all this food in there and some beers and stuff. And I thought, gosh, they've really upped their game.
Yeah.
And somebody said they haven't. Robert Plant's bought this lot for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Wow.
Just did it. He didn't ask or
Good man.
say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm great, I bought you all that.
Yeah,
So nothing.
kind
Wanted to look
gesture.
after us, you know?
Good man.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
good,
that's
yeah.
that is
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, when things like that. I mean, what I like about you, Jezza, you're so understated. You know, from a sort of fanboy perspective, you know, you're hearing Robert Plant here, George Martin there, you know, MTV here, and all these Abbey Road studios and stuff. You've played with a lot of these great people in your time. Did you enjoy? Was that a highlight, or is that just a byproduct of your thing? Do you see it as a working job, or do you get starstruck by it?
I think anybody going to sort of play with those guys, I mean, you do.
Yeah.
It is a little bit more special. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there are days and days when
Yeah.
I've done film music and stuff, which is so dull that you
Yeah.
just look at the clock, it feels it's going
Oh,
backwards,
God.
just long, slow notes, and you
Yes.
know, and also sort of pop stars are dreadful.
Yeah, they've got their egos.
You know,
checking
you
with
know,
them.
and you think, God, when's this going to finish? You know, so
Yeah.
I think those things stand out.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's a little bit more special, but so is it in the classical. You know,
Yes.
you can sit in an orchestra like the Hong Kong Phil week
Yeah.
after week, and it's very matter of fact, and then the
Yeah.
conductor comes and the whole thing changes.
Just lights up.
And you remember that as well. You know.
Yes.
You know, I remember in the LSO, you know, when Previn came,
Right.
I just sort of, it was like walking on air, and I think we'd
Yes.
had a few weeks of fairly sort of mundane
Mundane
stuff,
stuff,
and then
yeah.
suddenly this guy comes, and you know,
Yeah.
on all sides, the dark side and the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
You know, there are things that
Yeah,
that,
sort
that
of
stand
swings and
out. But
roundabouts.
like any work, there's always
Yes,
ups and downs. aren't
But the life of a musician, to me, it's just got such a romantic sort of bohemian sort of coolness about it. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. I mean, there are the times when you show up, the hotels are dreadful, or there's some
food
awful motel somewhere and
Yeah.
nothing to eat, and
Yeah.
that does happen.
Yeah.
Probably more
Yeah.
than the other.
All right, so you got through the sort of the 80s and the 90s. You bring the family over here. End of the 90s.
At that time, I was living on Hong Kong Island.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
when we came back in 15. We went to Kowloon.
Okay.
So we were in Cornhill
Oh, okay, right.
through that period.
Through that,
yeah.
the 90s period.
Yeah.
Was that the time that you were in the Hong Kong film?
That's right. Yeah.
How many years did you spend in the Hong Kong film?
I was actually in the Hong Kong Phil for 4 years, and that's where Australia comes into it, because
Yeah.
this position in the Australian String Quartet came up, and that was around 2002. I sort of fancied going back into that sort of thing.
Yes.
So I rang the manager, and he said, come and play. And I thought, well, I'd never been to Australia. It was another place I'd never been on
Yes.
tours.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if they don't want me or I don't like it or whatever, I'll go, because the trial was to do a concert in Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney. You know, so I thought, well, if nothing else, I'll go and do
you've
that.
seen some of Australia.
And so we went via Malaysia with Emma and Yum. because she's got a lot of family there on
Yes.
the father's side.
Ah.
And then we went, or on the way back, I think we did that. And then we went, did this trial in Australia. Thought very hard about it because I wasn't sure I wanted to leave here. But in the end, we decided we'd go and give it a go. And that wasn't in the script, because the script had been, come here for a couple of years, go back to the UK, which means you can't plan.
Yeah,
so
no.
I ended up doing 4 years plus and then
In Hong
going
Kong.
there. So I did that with lots of other things in Australia, which I weren't really going to for this, but
Yes, that's fine.
but did a lot of travelling with that quartet.
Yes.
You know, we did. I mean, a national tour is like a sort of world tour because Australia's so big.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and went to some amazing places I would have never gone. You know,
No.
like sort of. We did an outdoor concert once on the back of a truck, and out of the hills there were 600 people, sort of Western Australians mainly, having picnics, and out of the hills behind all the Aboriginal people, First Nation as I should say now.
Yes.
They all came out of the hills and they stayed there for the whole concert.
Wow.
And it was night time, and then when it had finished they just dissolved back in.
Dissolved.
So that's got to be up there with experiences.
Yes, yes.
And we did some China tours with that group as well, and we
Yeah.
played in a one of the rooms in the Forbidden City that's not open to the public. We played Beethoven in there. It was very spooky, even though the audience was mainly sort of Australian, sort of. It was a business thing, so there were Chinese and Australian business people, you know, and so it was an invited thing. So it was a slightly strange event, but that's another thing, going in this very eerie room and playing Beethoven, which is a very powerful thing.
That's Forbidden City.
Yeah, yes.
Beijing.
There was a decent sized audience.
Yeah.
It wasn't a public concert. Whereas the other one, you know, with all the people coming out the hills and the picnickers and that, there was about 1,000 people there, I think, by the time.
God.
But
And what was the name of the quartet that you were in?
Australian String Quartet.
Ah, there you go. Clues in the country.
So I said, what's a pom doing in it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Did you get any of that? I mean,
A lot.
Were the others Aussies or?
The second violin was an Aussie. The first violin was Japanese, and then the cello and me were both Poms.
That's interesting.
But having said that, the cellist had lived there a long time, you know, and it's a country of immigration. So I mean, there's everything.
Yeah.
There. Everybody's there. So
whose idea was it to call them the Australian quartet?
that went back quite a long way. It had various guises and things. Yeah, I think it had been formed back in the 70s or something like that.
Yeah. And the quartet?
2 violins, viola, which I was viola in, and cello.
Okay. All right.
We did play with other instruments.
Yes.
Like guests and things. Often played with pianists. And certainly saw a lot of Australia I would have not seen and probably won't see again.
What a great opportunity.
So that was good. So it was good to do that. I became Australian citizen after, you know, which is a good thing to be.
How long did it take to be an Aussie citizen?
It took... Well, I went there in 2002, 3 properly.
Yeah.
2009 we got it.
Okay, so similar to here.
I think I could have got it probably a couple of years before, actually. Because the permanent residency there, after about 3 years, I think they try and encourage you to take the citizenship.
Okay.
Yeah, Rebecca took it first because she wanted to go to university. And then Emma, who was a little bit younger when she started uni, I was faced with overseas fees. I thought, I'll take the citizenship.
Very good. Yeah, so that was a good driver.
And so it was great for them. They went to good schools.
Brilliant.
And they went to Macquarie University, both of them. Rebecca did law.
That's a good one.
Emma's did psychology.
Right.
Emma's still there. She's married. She's got 2 kids.
Yeah, I know. And that's why you always say you're sort of sandwiched in Hong Kong.
That's right.
Between the one daughter in London and one daughter
That's
in
right. That's
Sydney.
right. Yeah, because Rebecca has one daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're a family man. You've got the kids
That's
there,
right.
the grandkids.
That's right.
Now.
That's right. And it's great having them.
Yeah.
So the actual coming back, you might be interested in why we get back here.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
In 2015, Yum's mum hadn't been terribly well.
Right.
And most nights she was in our flat where we were living,
Yeah.
on the phone.
Right.
Not just talking to her mum, but this doctor and that, and this carer and that. And she came in one night, she said, we're going to have to go back for a while.
Right.
So the plan was to come back, spend a few weeks. So we found an Airbnb, sort her out, and then go back. I suppose, to cut a long story short, 11 years and 2 months later, we're still here.
Yeah. Okay, so still ongoing.
Ongoing.
And her mum is still...
Her mum sadly left us in 17.
Okay, all right.
But by then, we were both working for Yu Jong and got students, and we started our own youth chamber group, the Hong Kong Camerata Strings, created our own business. So it was really a no-brainer about... We didn't wish to go back and sort of basically have to start again, because we'd given up everything there.
Yeah. But at that stage, when you left Australia, did you leave the girls down there? Or
yes.
And then you came back just yourself?
That's right. Rebecca, by that point, she left university and she went back to the UK. She wanted to be near my mum.
Right, okay. That's nice.
And she went there. There was an Aussie guy that she was with, and he'd gone there. That sort of broke up. She met her in IT, actually. She was doing IT.
Okay.
At the time, she met her, and they'd both done law, her now husband. So she met a guy there.
Yes.
So that's explains why she's there now. Whereas Emma was a little bit younger. She did Macquarie that little bit later.
Yes. Yeah.
She stayed. We bought a flat in Sydney, which is in a very good area.
Yeah.
But a very good location. It wasn't a great area when we bought it. It's a good one now. And she stayed there, and so she's a real Aussie.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Yeah, so you moved back here in 2015. You set up the chamber orchestra, and you set up the school for violin or any instruments. Is it?
Well, it's violin mainly, some viola, and then this Hong Kong Camerata Strings, which was a chamber group.
Yes.
You know, of all the string instruments.
Yes.
If you play Baroque music, you had a harpsichord.
Okay.
So we set that up, and also we were approached by Yu Jong to start with to do a sort of Saturday morning program. So we were still freelancing, and we started doing that. And from that, we ended up working for them.
Right.
Yum was head of strings. I was at that time sort of helping with various things, but eventually became music director. A couple of years later, I was always doing stuff. And of course, we met Mr. Hackman, who's a great friend. So we did that. And so by the time Yum's mum left us, it was not really in the script to go back. Well, that doesn't mean we haven't been constantly going back, because we often go back, not through COVID, of course.
That brings us forward to sort of more or less today. You get to a stage, I think, where the pressure of work became greater than your enjoyment of the role. Is that
I would say that's a fair thing. You know, we were doing our own things, and then working for an organisation. Sometimes you have to do a lot of things that don't necessarily sit so easily with you. The endless meetings in a big organisation, because remember, Yu Jong has schools all in China,
right? And
as music director, and Yum as well with the strings, we had to go a lot, which of course dried up with COVID, but before that we were going a lot. And then often because I was music director, I had to go and sit for hours in things where music wasn't even mentioned.
Oh God.
You know, just because I was part of this set up. And I must say, eventually I thought, time to go. I mean, it was 8 years, so
8 years
and we wanted to come and live here,
on Lantau,
you know, and so we'd still had some students and things, so it was a sort of life change, really. You know, and also getting to the stage in life where I didn't actually want to work every day, which you have to in a thing like that, and then teaching after school, and then Saturday often doing the Camerata group. Coming here on a Sunday to sort of let off steam, and then back Monday morning.
At some point, you want to take control back of your life and to start to call the shots again.
That's right.
And that's how it seemed with you and Yum, that you wanted to slow down a bit, and you know, with the backdrop of both daughters then having getting married and having children, and spending more time with family, in both UK and Oz.
You couldn't do that in a job like that. You had to take the holidays when they say, and in the position I was in, you know, you finish at the end of June, but they want you back on August the 1st.
Yeah.
For all that pre-term stuff, which sometimes you think, well, did I bother to come back? Well, there's not that much to do other than just be there.
And of course, then that ties you to that location. You can't be in another place.
But having said that, overall, I mean, the opportunity to do that, I loved the kids and work with the kids. We managed to do a lot of really good stuff there. So I'm very pleased we did it. And you know, it was a different angle from all those recording sessions and quartet concerts and things. It was a different approach, and I felt, both Yum and I felt, you know, at the stage we were in life, we wanted to put something back in. You're supposed to give them an hour and a half, often go over. If they're producing something, the clock just sort of fizzles out. And
as long as they're motivated,
exactly,
and they're moving forward.
So that gives me a lot of pleasure seeing these kids develop. And I've had students. I've got a student now who's at Juilliard in New York, and another one went to Stanford. There's one just gone to Cambridge. Some of them go and do great things, not as musicians, but they take the music with them.
So is that how you see things going from here on in?
And we're about to go on an extended trip now. Because again, that we've been asked to sort of do a few musical things, and we've got the grandkids we'd like to spend some time with. So what we've done is we've just not put a date on that one. We're just going to go and do what we do, and then if the time comes, come back. I started before coming back to Hong Kong a community thing, and they were professional people that played instruments, and they played them jolly well. But they all walks of life, from ABC radio presenters to people that worked in universities, maths lecturers, and all sorts of things. Cellists that, you know, and they'd wanted to keep their music going. We did a couple of concerts, and when they heard that we went last year, they said, if you come again, can we get this going? So some of the guys there, they're quite interested in sort of getting that thing going. And then a bit like here now, I'll just take a few students. I don't want many students. I guess I don't want to do more than about 10 hours of teaching a week. And years ago I would have done more than that. But that's good for me. It keeps the mind going. It keeps me involved in the music and that. So I think that's about. Yesterday I did about 4 hours. I've got about 5 hours on Saturday. Today nothing. Tomorrow nothing. Lots to do, but not actually in terms of working. And I really, as does Yum, really treasure those days when I don't have to do it. Talking about that, I remember doing a recording with Streisand. And I was so excited because I think she's got the most incredible voice. But she was so unpleasant.
Really? Actually, she does have a reputation.
She was very unpleasant.
So that's the other side of it, isn't it? You're meeting the personalities, the people behind the front, the showbiz front sort of thing.
And I've just remembered another one. I used to do this show. Do you remember Harry Seacombe used to stand on a mountain and sing on Sunday nights?
Yes, I do.
I used to play for those. And we'd go in on Mondays and we'd record a few of his songs. Well, he used to come to the studio to do it, and we just laughed for 3 hours. He was the funniest guy. An absolute gorgeous man, just such a lovely bloke.
Yes.
So you're beginning to dig out from me things that sort of sat in the depths of.
Well, and there's other things that, you know, you put on your thing. You know, we always loved Inspector Morse, and you played on the score for that.
Yes, that's right. I mean, a friend and colleague of mine that we'd done a lot of touring together was suddenly, he wasn't sort of fixing that sort of stuff. He was rung up and he said, there's this pilot for this new TV series. Composer called Barrington Phelan, an Aussie actually.
Right.
And they were great mates. They'd done contemporary dance together.
Okay.
And so Barry asked him, can you get a small band together? There was 4 violins, of which I was one, and a couple of other mates. And we did it, and we were sort of giggling because him fixing, you know. And we did this thing, Inspector Morse, a pilot. No one had heard of it.
No.
And suddenly it took off. And this guy ended up, you know, down the line, not only fixing that, but sort of things for Michael Kamen, Band of Brothers, and all this sort of stuff.
Really?
I didn't do that because I was in Hong Kong by the time they made that. But you know, then there's a bit of luck for him. I was doing that from 85, I think, was the sort of pilot, right through up until when I came to Hong Kong in 98, on and off. Again, it wasn't every week. But, you know, there's a lot of music in that because he likes music.
Yes.
And because of copyright, when he puts that needle on the thing, it's not a commercial record. We have to record it.
Oh, okay.
Because if they put sort of Carry-Ann or somebody on, it's copyright, and you can't
Yeah,
do
you
it.
can't
So
do it.
so we were not only playing all the atmospherics, but we were recording all his opera, snips of stuff. But then you have to have all the instruments and everything.
Wow. What were you telling me about the what they call you, the death?
Oh, the Doombox
The
Man.
Doombox Man. Tell me about the Doombox Man. What is that?
Well, the Doombox is the viola.
Right, okay.
And a lot of viola players, if they listen to this, will probably hate me for this, but because some of them take it very seriously. But if you listen to a film score and something quite sinister is going to happen, I'd say 90% of the time it's something led by viola rather than violin.
That sort of,
it's sort of low and sort of slightly dark. I mean, the screechy thing is the violin in the Psycho, but this is sort of something murky. And you have cello and bass and viola, very dark.
Taps into
and I started listening to these things, and sure enough, something's going to happen. Violas, and a lot of composers do it, and so long before I came along, the viola was known as the Doombox. So I go to Australia and I'm playing the viola, and Aussies being what they are, they like a good laugh. I told them about that, so they said, "You're the Doombox Man." So they nicknamed me DBM.
DBM.
So it's either Jezza.
I call you Jezza.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do. But the Aussies, a lot of them call me that there, or DBM.
Man. DBM is even better, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. So that just remains for me then to say, Jeremy Williams, thank you very much for coming in today.
It's been a pleasure, and thanks for inviting me.
You can listen to all our VIBErations podcasts published on all your favourite podcast platforms. Or you can watch on our YouTube channel under Live at VIBEHK, or follow the links from my website at vibehk.com. The opening and closing music comes from Celestial and is called Green Island Dub, and is on the Retrospect vinyl album, on sale at Vibe. Finally, a reminder that Vibe is open 6 days a week, from Tuesday to Sunday, 12 noon until around 6:30 p.m. Thanks for listening to the 60th Vibe Book and Music Shop podcast called VIBErations. I'm Gary Brightman. You get my vibe?
Can you imagine what this old island must have looked like to those Dutch sailors when they first saw it? Fresh green. Like a dream of a new world.
They must have held their breath. Afraid it would disappear before they could touch it.